And we are back. Welcome to the first video of predictions for the Women's Olympics football after the opening day of the Olympics saw the men taking part. And, well, I mean, I could probably do an entire video talking about the absolute mentalness that was the Argentina-Morocco game. Firstly, fair play to Morocco, and well done to all of you in the comments that told me that Morocco were going to win that match, because they absolutely deserved to win that match. But if you've not seen or not heard about what happened at the end of that game, 15 minutes of added time, Argentina score in the 16th minute of added time after a shot was blocked, shot was saved onto the bar, header onto the bar, and then header into the back of the net. One of the most ridiculous equalising goals I've ever seen in my life. And like I say, in the 16th minute of 15 added on, and then 2 hours later, VAR ruled it out, brought them back onto the pitch to play 30 seconds and blow up for full time, this time with Morocco winning. Possibly the most ridiculous game of football in the history of football. And honestly, I don't understand how this can happen at this sort of stage, but it did. And what entertainment it was. And you know what? Away from that match, there were some other big results as well. And I will take full vindication for the Dominican Republic getting their 0-0 draw against Egypt. 8-1 on Egypt were. And again, all of you in the comments saying I was being very disrespectful to Egypt, saying Dominican Republic wouldn't have a chance. Well, I got that one right. I did get some other ones wrong, though. It was a very mixed bag in terms of my predictions yesterday. But we're not here to talk about the men's. We are here to talk about the women's football, which starts, of course, today. So before we get into it, if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video if you do enjoy my prediction series, and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, because we will, of course, be covering every match day of the men's and the women's football at this Olympic Games. And without any further ado, let's get into the first day of the women's taking place today. And the beauty of the women's football is it is the actual full first teams, which means we have a little bit more insight into the form and into the players that are going to be played over the course of the next few weeks, whereas the men's is obviously under 23s with some overage players in there, and it's really hard to establish form and whatnot, whereas here there is a lot more remit to establish form. And we'll start off like we did yesterday. We're going to do Group A, Group B, Group C, because again, the Olympics Committee have ordered the matches in just a completely random order. So I'm going to do Group A, Group B, then Group C. And the opening game of Group A is Canada taking on New Zealand. And to be honest with you, I don't see this being anything other than a Canadian win. Canada are a very, very strong side, both on paper and in terms of recent form. New Zealand do have some talented players themselves, but in terms of overall squad for squad, this should be a game that Canada should be winning relatively comfortably. I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Canada, which would set up an interesting second game against the side that will probably end up coming out on top in the other match in this group, which is between France and Colombia. France, the second-ranked side in the world, coming up against a Colombian side that is improving. Of course, they did have a good showing at the World Cup last year, and they are looking to build on that. But again, I think if you look at the French side, albeit the French haven't been playing that great recently. They obviously lost to Ireland recently. They struggled against England in qualifying for the Euros over the last international break. But against the Colombia side that, like I say, is developing but isn't quite there yet, I think the expectation would be that the French come out on top. These two actually played in a friendly last year, and the result was 5-2 to France. So ultimately, I expect France to get the win. I'm going to go for 3-1 to the French in that one. On to Group B, and we start off with Germany taking on Australia. And again, two very good sides. I mean, there are three phenomenal sides in this group with America in there as well. We'll get to that one shortly. But America against Australia, obviously the big talking point, as always, with Australia is no Sam Kerr. No major injuries as far as I'm aware for Germany, so they're going to be relatively at full strength. And I think there's an expectation in Germany that they do pretty well at this tournament. And I don't see them having too many problems in the game against Australia today. I'm going to go for 2-1. I can see this being a tight affair. I can see this being one of the very close games that take place today. But ultimately, I think Germany should be considered the favourites, and I'm just edging it in their favour. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win. The other game in this group, as we've already mentioned, is America taking on Zambia. Zambia are by far the lowest ranked side in this competition, but you always have to remember that these sides qualify for these tournaments on merit. So Zambia absolutely deserve to be here. And of course, when we talk about American women, it is, of course, Emma Hayes in charge. So bit of English interest in this, or British interest, shall we say, in this competition, with England not qualifying for this competition despite trying to. But we'll see. I think Emma Hayes has got a very strong American side available to her. They are obviously looking to rebuild ahead of their next major tournament, but they'll want to be winning this competition as well. I can't see Zambia causing them too many problems. Like I say, they are by far the lowest ranked side in this competition, and I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to America in that one. But you just never know. Watch this space. Like I said, we saw yesterday, there are definitely teams at the Olympics that are capable of springing an upset because they are here on their own merit, but I would be really surprised to see any result other than an American win in that one. On to Group C then, which for me has to be the group of death in this competition. Spain, Japan, Nigeria and Brazil. And we will start off with the world champions, Spain, taking on Japan. And look, we all know how good Spain are. It's arguably unfair on every other team in this competition when you just have a look down that Spain squad or all the world-class players that they have. And you could, I'm not going to sit here and rattle them all off, but because if you're watching this video, you're aware of how good some of these players are. So I'm not going to go into it, but it is Spain against Japan. The only thing that I would say is that obviously Spain are world champions going into this tournament. At the World Cup last year, Spain played Japan, and Japan won 4-0. And obviously Spain then went on to win the tournament. But it cannot be forgotten that in the group stages of the World Cup last year, Spain played Japan and Japan won 4-0. And Spain played their full first team. It was the last game of the group, but Spain played their full first team and Japan beat them legitimately 4-0. So this game is not as much of a write-off as people think it is. Japan are a very, very good side and they are capable of beating Spain. That said, Spain are going to be out for revenge because they've not played Japan since that game last year, and I expect Spain to still end up getting the result. But with the respect to Japan, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Spain. I can still see it being close. Obviously, as I've already spoken about, we know that on their day, Spain are an absolutely incredible side. They're world champions for a reason. They've got some of the best players, arguably ever, in women's football, and they're going to be looking to win this competition as well. But I think Japan will give them a game today. I'm going to go for 2-1. And then finally, it's Nigeria against Brazil. And not much to split between these two sides. Brazil will be considered the favourites because they are the much higher ranked team. They've got a much, arguably, better quality of squad. But Nigeria are a very, very solid side. And in the build-up to this tournament, you look at the friendlies they've played and the competitive games they've played against good sides, both in and around this tournament, i.e. teams in this tournament, teams that didn't quite qualify for this tournament. And the one thing you'll say about Nigeria is defensively they are very, very good. And they're going to make it very hard for Brazil to break them down today. That said, Brazil are a side that do score a lot of goals. So I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle and go for 1-0 to Brazil. I don't think Nigeria will have enough to cause Brazil significant problems defensively, but I could see this one being 0-0. I really could. I've not gone for a single draw today, but I could see this one being the most likely as a draw. This one and maybe the Germany-Australia game are probably your most likely draws, in my opinion. But I'm going to go for Brazil. I think they're going to edge it. I'm going to go for 1-0. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. The first day of women's football at the Olympics. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I'll be back for the second day of men's football very soon. Thank you very much for watching.